River capture, also known as stream piracy. Let's begin with the concept or definition of what river capture is. River capture happens when a fast flowing river erodes through the watershed and intercepts or cuts into and captures or takes the water of a slower flowing river. So you have two opposing rivers on either side of the watershed. The one is a faster flowing river and the other one is a slower flowing river. The faster flowing river, which has more erosive power, will cut through that watershed and it will intercept and capture the water of a slower flowing river. Under which conditions is river capture likely to take place? In other words, why does river capture or stream piracy happen? In the diagram, you'll notice that there is a watershed, which is defined as high-lying ground, which separates two drainage basins. We've got drainage basin A and drainage basin B, and these two rivers are separated by the watershed. First condition that is required for river capture to take place is that on the one side of the watershed there needs to be a steeper slope or a steeper gradient. Secondly, where the steeper slope is found, that river needs to be more energetic and it needs to flow faster as a result of that steeper gradient. The steeper gradient with a faster flowing river means that the river will have greater erosive power. So if you look at the diagram, river A flows on a steeper gradient and as a result it's going to flow faster and therefore will have more erosive power. Lastly, the captor stream or the river doing the capturing needs to flow on a lower altitude. If you look at the diagram, river A is flowing at 220 meters above sea level, whereas river B is at an altitude of 880 meters above sea level as examples. So in order for river capture to take place, the one slope needs to be steeper on the one side of the watershed. The river needs to flow faster. That river needs to erode even more. And the energetic river needs to approach from or flow on a lower altitude. At the source of the fast flowing river, headward erosion takes place. It's important to remember the type of erosion there. It's called headward erosion, where the river erodes upstream from its source. As a result of headward erosion, the river then erodes through the watershed. So in summary, river A, steeper slope, faster flowing river, more erosion, and at a lower altitude. At the source, we have headward erosion, which means that the river elongates itself and erodes upstream, and as a result of that headward erosion at the source, that river is going to erode and break through the watershed. This diagram shows the river after river capture or stream piracy has taken place. This more energetic and erosive river has now undergone headward erosion and it has broken its way through the watershed and has now intercepted the river on the other side of the watershed. The features of river capture are important to remember. This section of the previously slower flowing river is called the captive. The pirate stream or the river that has done the capturing is called the captor. At the point where the faster flowing river intercepts the slower flowing one, we have what is called the elbow of capture. And at that very point, we're going to have the formation of a neck point or a neck point waterfall. This gap between the elbow of capture and the beheaded stream is called the wind gap. And then the remaining river here, this section of the slower flowing river, is called the misfit. So it's important to be able to name and identify the features of river capture, captive stream, the captor stream, the elbow of capture, the wind gap, and then what is called the misfit or the misfit stream. Just some additional things to remember is that at the elbow of capture, we're also going to have a neck point and the formation of a neck point waterfall. The wind gap, its characteristics is that it is a dry riverbed or dry river channel that contains river gravels or river sand. And then the misfit stream is called that because you now have a large river channel with a small amount of water flowing into it. I like to think of the misfit stream as there being a misfit or a mismatch between the size of the river channel and the amount of water that flows in that channel. Additionally, it is important to remember and be able to answer questions on the impact that river capture has on each of the streams. For example, the misfit stream, there will be a decrease in the volume of water. There will be a decrease in its ability to erode. However, there will be an increase in its deposition rates because the river slows down and it deposits the load it is carrying. It has a negative impact on any communities downstream who depend on the water, but it also has a negative impact on plant and animal habitats in the river. In terms of the impact on the captor stream, there's an increase in the volume of water, which means there's an increase in the rate of erosion, which means that this river has become rejuvenated. So faster flowing river, increase in volume, there's an increase in its ability to erode. Obviously, there are positive impacts for communities further down and plant and animal life. However, with an increase in water in the captor stream, it also increases the likelihood and the threat of flooding along this river. Some questions from November 2024, paper 1, 2.4.1. The river that has got more erosive power. The one that has got more erosive power is the captor stream, and that's the one that flows over the steeper gradient and is faster flowing, and in this instance it would be river A. 2.4.2, give one reason evident in the sketches to support the answer to question 2.4.1. In other words, evidence that river A has more erosive power. It's the fact that river A has in actual fact broken through and eroded through the watershed, in addition to the fact that river A flows on a lower altitude. Identify features C and D. C is called the elbow of capture and D is called the wind gap. Give one characteristic of feature D. Feature D, the wind gap, is a dry riverbed, in addition to the fact that the wind gap contains river gravels. 2.4.5, the question that everybody loves to dislike. In a paragraph of approximately 8 lines, describe the changes that river E will experience after river capture has taken place. So obviously the river E refers to the misfit stream, So river E will have a decrease in volume of water. The water is going to flow at a much slower rate. There will be decrease in the river's ability to erode or in erosion rates, and there will be an increase in deposition of the material that the river is carrying.